Good morning, everyone. Hey, I'm Charlie Bourne, practitioner for today, and I'd like to welcome everybody into our center. I know we have a lot of people out in the foyer looking at baskets and things to buy for the holiday season, and you're going to get another opportunity real soon. So if we can all sort of come in and join for the service. And then I'd like to welcome everybody online as well, and just to remember that we are open, and you can come on Sundays if you're comfortable with that, and we would love to see you. So I'd like to thank everybody in service today, but today we're going to open with a wonderful song by the 360 Band, and here they are.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. 'Twas blind, but now see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
That was beautiful. Voices of honey. So I'd like to thank everybody in service today. We have Linda on the board desk, and we have Lindy in the sound booth, and Doug and Ronnie, ushers and greeters, and many, many other people here in service today. And so I'd like to invite the children up, and we'll sing them out. And then while we're doing that, if you can just wave to the camera, just look at Lindy and give a big smile.
Thank
I feel special. I'm so close. I feel like I'm part of the band. 460, but I'm 70. So anyway, if we have any newcomers today, we have a welcome packet in the back, or if you want to raise your hand, an usher will bring one to you, but you can also just pick one up on your way out. And then before we get started, with announcements, I'm going to invite the search committee up that we have for a new minister, but let me give you a little background. So back in the late winter, January, February time period, Reverend Sue and Dr. Mary announced that they're going to retire. So what we did is we had an intentional visioning session, and we had an open visioning session where we invited people in. And out of that visioning session, we formed a committee. And it's a search committee, and so it's volunteer. And then what we did is we worked with CSL Golden, our headquarters, to put together what we have to put online, for attracting a new minister. So Reverend Mary retired as co-senior minister in August, and then Reverend Sue committed to stay on until we manifest that new minister. And so we're in that process, it's online. It's with CSL Golden. As a committee, we meet weekly, and we go through a lot of deep work. But I want you to know that this is for the congregation, and we want to invite the entire congregation into the process. And so today, Linda's going to share a ritual or an invitation to invite everyone into that process. And then the other committee members are going to be sharing as well. And then at the end, we're going to be handing out something that you can take home and hold in your consciousness by reading through it. It's going to be a prayer, it's going to be a statement. And then we are committed to giving you ongoing updates. But really what we're asking is for an invitation to have everyone join in this consciousness for manifesting a new minister. So with that said, I'm going to invite Linda up first. Well, everybody can come up, and Linda will start it off. Linda?
Good morning. We're lighting a candle to start as a symbol that is the Center for Spiritual Living Reading, as a beacon of light in our community and in the world. And so we'll be lighting this candle today and every Sunday to brighten the way for a new minister to be welcomed into our community.
We have a backup. This is not our consciousness.
No.
This is the juice.
It's a perfect manifestation.
Yes.
Persistence is what we have. Yes. And I would like to also invite our friend Roy Wolfstead forward to explain and bring us all into alignment the idea of a sacred covenant, so we all have the same understanding of what that is.
Falling apart. I'm going to read this because it was a challenge for the committee to accept this word, covenant. And so we wanted to share with you what we finally agreed upon as what a covenant is. Covenant was originally a holy agreement. Personally, My first encounter with the covenant was the covenant between Abraham and God that was discussed in the Bible. Our covenant was approved by the Board of Trustees and by our liaison at CFL Golden, Colorado. The covenant is our spiritual pledge to a candidate and new minister. Additionally, it sets out our anticipated pledge by a new minister to our community. And Steve is going to present the covenant to you if you haven't already seen it.
Good morning. The covenant. As we enter into a sacred agreement between our beloved community and our new minister, we know there is only one that connects us all. We share a sense of harmony, directing right action and cooperation in the search for the perfect leadership for our center. Grounded in the principles of science of mind, we look to all spiritual teachings for inspiration and ritual. Together now we fly, witnessing the growth and freedom of our intentions. We embrace and welcome our new minister as one who shares this path of walking and living in the light of truth and integrity. Together as one, our presence is a beacon of light for our greater community, leading with a legacy of love in all our encounters. We have immense gratitude for the Center of Spiritual Living Redding, as a jewel in the northern Sacramento Valley full of natural wonders. We are thankful for the people in our community and the greater Redding area who value the beauty of our surroundings and work together to sustain and enhance nature's blessings all around us. And so we know the right and perfect minister is awake and ready to lead us on the next phase of our journey together in equanimity. With an abundance of joy, we release and celebrate the spread of love, light, and truth. We welcome this sacred and reciprocal union and joyfully support our new minister as they support this gift we offer. We move forward together as one to be the change we know is possible to make a world that works for all. And so it is. Oh, yeah. And now Chair Matthews is going to come and lead us in a community prayer that we're sharing with you and that you can take home as well and put on your refrigerator.
You'll see a lot of similarities in the community prayer with the sacred covenant. So if you would all please close your eyes and take a deep breath and join all of us in this knowing. There is only one source, one light, and one love that connects us all in our spiritually inclusive community. This source expresses itself through and as each one of us and attracts and welcomes a new minister to our loving center. We accept and know that we are a beacon of light filled with the power of divine love. Full of intention and joy, we now send out the vibrations of this sacred invitation for a new spiritual leader. We unite our hearts and minds and fully embrace our new minister who shares our path of walking and living in the light of love and truth. We have immense gratitude for our Center for Spiritual Living, a precious presence in the greater Reading area. We're thankful for all the people in our community who value the beauty of our surroundings and work together to sustain and enhance nature's blessings all around us. And so we know right here, right now, that the right and perfect minister is awake and ready and receives this invitation to inspire and lead us on the next phase of our spiritual journey. We welcome this sacred union and joyfully support our new spiritual leader to embrace this gift we offer. We now move forward as one to be the change we know is possible in the world, and so it is.
Thank you, everybody. I want to add that Hazel Hughes is also on the committee, and Lori Forsyth. You may know her as Lori Snow, but they got married. So breaking news. And I also wanted to add to my opening that Reverend Dr. Mary and Reverend Sue are committed to this center. They're here as part of loving support for this center, and once the new minister arrives, they will be in support as staff ministers and doing whatever they're going to do in the background. But we take the lead, from the right and perfect new minister that shows up. So thank you, everybody, for that. It feels warm and deep, and it's a deep knowing that this is manifesting right here and right now. So I'm going to do real quickly focus announcements, and I'm going to shorten it up a little bit because they're all in your program. If you get a program on the way in, you can look at that. You can go online. You can sign up for classes online. You can push a button and sign up. So it's a new and great way to be able to do that. So we do have the collectibles online marketplace. It's from now to December 23rd. It's a collection of furniture, art, household items, and more. And so you just check out the calendar page of the center's website, and you can get more information on that. Sue's going to come up in a minute and talk about the Conscious Giving Pledge Drive. We also have a holiday gift baskets raffle. You see that out in the foyer. And so you can buy 25 tickets for $20. Or $1 a ticket. And then you put the ticket in with what you want to win, and then there's all kinds of wonderful things out there. I've already picked out a couple I bought tickets for. So we also have items that you can buy, around the sides of the foyer, jewelry and other special items. And that's not a raffle, that's something you can actually buy today. If you see something like earrings or special jewelry, other items that you can just take a look at, and this is all part of our fundraising effort for the center. And also, we have a lot going on today. We also have the Piggy Bank Roundup today from 9:30 to 11:30, from 10:20 to 11:30. So if you didn't bring in your pig today, full of coin, you can still bring it in during the week. And we weigh those, and that's part of the endowment committee's fundraising effort. And so it's an annual thing, but, we've arranged a wonderful, a lunch, that's in the social hall that you can pick up some wonderful food and enjoy and visit with folks, and it's all part of today's celebration and wanting you to hang out longer, so you can look at everything that's out there in the foyer. But please take a look at that. We have wonderful cooks that came last night, and a lot of preparation and a lot of love went into it. And then we have a Just Breathe workshop this coming weekend with Reverend Sue, and she has me down, so I guess I'll be there breathing. But I'll be the Vanna White, or I'll be the support. But it is something that's a passion in my heart, and so the breath is so important, and Sue has been doing a lot of deep study about this particular workshop and has some really incredible wisdom to share that I think you'll enjoy it. So Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. And then we have an exploring membership meeting with Reverend Dr. Mary on Sunday, November 21st, right after the service at 11:15. So if you're thinking about membership, put that on your calendar and show up. But with that in mind, I do want to turn this over to Reverend Sue for the pledge drive.
So I'm just going to be very brief. Right now I'm in the middle of a course, and it's talking about the stewardship, how to really raise everyone's consciousness where we're all a part of this center, and the financial good that you share and the service of your heart helps to continue to build our strength in the community and be that light that is so shining. So back there, Carol is at the table manning the giving. She's like Vanna White back there. And each time that you offer your card of intention, she'll fill in one of those green leaves, and we hope to have the entire wreath of leaves filled in before the end of our drive. But one of the statements that I came across was, make love your aim. And I thought that's it, because I'm not comfortable asking for money, but asking for love, I am. And so your gifts of good and service and financial good is a form of love. So we're dedicating this month to the conscious giving, and we invite you to take that idea of personal stewardship, of the mission and the vision of our center, because the giving that you do is transformative. It's inviting you as the giver and you as the receiver, this reciprocal relationship with the divine. And it's all personal to you. And the generosity that you share is a joy when you have a sense of belonging and engaging with the power of this center and its teaching and its heart and its longing to see a world that works for all. You can start small. You can really start small and just remember, this is my first step in giving, but it's a faithful step. And in that stewardship, you are supporting one another. So I give deep thanks for your attention to this throughout the month. And I want to invite Steve up again. Judy was going to join him, but she's one of the cooks in the kitchen. But he's going to mention to you as a testimony of why he and Judy are so involved in this center. By the way, we had the music jam on Friday night. We are so cool. We are so cool.
Me again. So I've been asked to talk about why we pledge and why we're part of the community. And I came up with this little wisdom. It's one thing to be short. It's another thing to belong. Usually Judy would be here next to me, so to drive it in. I just love this community. We came to Reading 4 years ago, not knowing anyone, and after about a year of looking and looking and looking for community and not finding it, we had some real doubts about whether or not we're supposed to be here or not. Because we've developed a worldview which is very inclusive. It's based on the fact that love is the source of everything in life. And we can't really afford the luxury of a negative thought. And we didn't see that around us necessarily everywhere we were going. But when we found this community, it's such a joy to be able to be in a room full of like-minded people. people who share the worldview that is so well elucidated by Earnest Holmes, who was a pretty clear guy. I've been trying to find fault with his writing for a couple of years now, and he keeps being right on the button. So to me, it's like every time we take a class, I get to meet people, and I get to talk to people, and I get to understand where everybody's coming from a different level, and I learn to respect the other members of this community deeper. Surely, you're there fairly often, you know. You take classes again and again just because you want to go deeper. And to me, that's the kind of community I want to be a part of. As far as pledging is concerned, I really want to do what I can to make sure that this keeps going, and it keeps growing, and it keeps giving the way it gives. So I pledge without thinking about it. I don't even think about it. And so many times there'll be a fundraiser, and I just think it's great because I want another opportunity to give. If I can give $20, great. I would much rather just say, yeah, it's going to the right place. And I've kind of got volunteered and did volunteer to be on the Board of Trustees, which was, I still don't understand all the money stuff. It's like half the meetings are about the budget and about all the different accounts that we have and all the sources of income that we have. And it's really an amazing kind of intricate web of trying to utilize every penny that comes into the community from every source to be able to put it into a place where it's doing the most good. And I'm there for moral support. If nothing else. I'm learning a little bit more. It's been over a year, so I'm starting to understand the language and whatever. But please do pledge and pledge generously, because that generosity goes to where it can do the most good. Yeah.
We're going to invite the bell, and our Shirley will be doing our opening treatment for all of you today. We're lucky to have her with us here.
There is only one life, and that life we share with the divine. And as we contemplate this vast universe and the nature of our oneness with the divine, we see everything about us as a reflection of God's loving presence and grace. We find beauty everywhere. Flowing white clouds, blue skies, and now a landscape coming alive, everything fresh and green, following the first rainfalls of the year, with the promise that all shall be well as our lives proceed in perfect order. We are reminded of the beauty and grace of God's love, finding expression through us in our caring relationships with family, friends, and all others. We have faith in this presence, support, and the grace of Spirit, and we aspire to demonstrate God's love, light, and wisdom as we express them daily in our relationships with all. We are grateful for this outpouring of blessings, for our center, and for the love that we share. We release this prayer in the knowledge that Spirit's action for all good has taken place. And together we say, and so it is.
Beautiful prayer. So good morning again, and I like this title of the talk today about, because we're this month, the whole theme is breathe. Workshop next weekend. Breathe in the view, and I have perfect time for the breathing workshop. But today it's seeing beauty and feeling grace. Isn't that great? Seeing beauty and feeling grace, and you three certainly did that song, Great Beauty. Such harmony in the voices. So there's this really corny joke that I was going to share. I've heard this one before, but this is so pertinent to me because I have this little grandson, Corey, that does this thing that he's not paying attention, then all of a sudden he'll look at me, but not at me, but through me, and stare, and I'm like, okay, what is it? What is he seeing? And it's just with this deep look in his eyes that he's discerning something, but he's not letting me know. So here's the joke. A young girl sitting on her grandfather's lap reached up and affectionately touched his wrinkled cheek, then touched her cheek. Grandpa, did God make both of us? Yes, dear. God made me a long time ago, and God made you just a little while ago. After a moment of reflection, the granddaughter observed, God's getting better at it, huh? So now I know what little Corey is looking at. He's watching. He's watching. So, this idea of seeing beauty and feeling grace really invites us into that heart space of awe. And there's these scriptures that come throughout different faith paths that I want to include here, because we're all been on this journey together, and we're all curious, like, what's going to be next on my amazing journey? And one of the core principles of our teaching, and we often explain this to people, do you believe in heaven? And heaven, and the idea behind the science of mind philosophy, it is a state of consciousness. And so when we evolve our consciousness, we are evolving that way to heaven. Okay, so it's right here now. We have that accessibility to this heavenly state. It's just to the degree that we're conscious of it. So from the different scriptures from the Bible, in Isaiah, it says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you." From Islam, "For those who believe and whose hearts find satisfaction in the remembrance of God is an inward joy and a beautiful place of return." From the Baha'i faith, "Where there is darkness in the world, you are its radiant candle. Where there is poverty, you must be the treasury of the kingdom. Where divine grace is called for, you must give its spiritual quickening." And from the Native American tradition, "When we merge our internal rhythms with the rhythms of creation, we develop grace in our movements. And without thought or effort, we are able to slide into the perfectly choreographed dance of life." Hafiz says this, "Now is the time for the world to know that every thought, every action is sacred. This is the time for you to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything anything but grace. Now is the season to know that everything you do is sacred. And this is the season of that. This season as we enter the holidays, it's to remind us not that we have to start giving of ourselves in different ways, but to remind ourselves every act is so sacred. And Rumi says, let the beauty we love be what we do. Hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Be like the sun for grace and mercy. Be like the night to cover others' faults. Be like running water for generosity. Be like the earth for modesty. Be like the stars for beauty. Appear as you are. Be as you appear. Isn't that beautiful? Rumi reminds us of these, and Hafiz, in such poetic verse, the idea of beauty, because sometimes we can't translate what we see. We have a feeling of awe, and we cannot describe it. So Earnest Holmes, in his mindful way, says, perhaps the simplest way is to state that we are surrounded by a mind, by an intelligence that knows everything, that the potential knowledge of all things exists in this mind, that the abstract sense of beauty, truth, and wisdom coexist in the mind of the universe, and we exist with it. And we may draw from it. But what we draw from it, we must draw through the channel of our own mind. A unity must be established, and a conscious connection must be made before we can derive the benefits with the greater mind, whatever the greater mind is willing to reveal or to impart to us. So each one of those are a testimony to this idea of the unspoken grace of beauty. And our philosophy is what they call a new thought philosophy, not New Age. If anybody says that, try to correct them, because it comes back from this teaching, has evolved from the pioneers, the bold pioneers of spirit who chose to see things new, and chose to see things as their mind downloaded it into a truth that they could articulate. They chose to see things new and not to continue to paint over the same old experience with the same level of consciousness. They allowed their beautiful minds to evolve. Or did they also learned to not just rotely paint by number what they saw out in the world, because then we're missing the beauty, the beautiful essence in all things when we bind ourselves to that old, stale thinking. And I know we can feel that as I share that. One of the ministers from the movement, Reverend J.J. from Cincinnati, says, our collective reawakening provides us with the blessing of seeing what's old is new again. What is new is wonderfully welcomed. The reawakening of consciousness arrives in gifts of diverse people of all hues and races. It arrives with the richness of joy that it exudes love. It is a beauty magnified and a grace exemplified. Words, trying to describe something that is a feeling. And so I invite you to sit here and remember the majestic moments of beauty that you witnessed, when you were caught off guard unexpectedly and awe filled your experience. I remember with the birth of Chris and Lindy, that awe, that moment. I remember the beauty of Hawaii on my honeymoon with Charlie, that race to the water's edge before the sun would rise so we could be in the water and watch it rise over the water's edge. Those moments of riding down on a rickety old bike from the top of a volcano in Hawaii, and the elements and the wind and the chill in the air, but then that magic moment of just taking your breath away as you wept around in that bike and the view was spectacular. Those moments where our breath is taken away. This pristine moment, that imprints upon us a greater idea of who we are. Those moments that make you want to fall to your knees, as Rumi said. But I feel that same, I don't have to go all around the world to see those moments. I see it here in Redding. And we sometimes forget, don't we? We're so sick of the fires and the heat. So many people are saying, I need to get out of here. But then the fall comes. And then the trees change their color. And people are saying, oh, I'm going to go back to Maine and look at the fall colors. And I'm thinking, really? Open your eyes. It's all around us. Going down Shasta View over by the McConnell trails, I swear those trees turned pink. And I just couldn't, I kept telling Charlie, he's trying to drive, and I said, I think they're pink. And it's like I dropped acid or something. They're pink. I think they're pink. And I was so excited to tell other people to go look, but the leaves have already fallen to the earth. But those moments when you drive on 44 and you come to the Sacramento River, and when the sun is setting at just the right time and the sky is amazing colors and the birds decide to take formation and they fly. And there's a stillness and a beauty and an awe. And this is the land that we live in. This is the land that we long to protect, that we weep and grieve when the fires burn our land. But I know that there's a good unfolding. I lock my heart into that knowing that our land will renew and rebirth itself in a whole new beautiful way. So we look at this idea and realize this is the grace of beauty that I speak of, but we have to be awake and present to witness it, to feel the wonder. This is a quote from The Second Mountain by David Brooks, and it's so beautiful. To feel the wonder in the face of beauty is to be astonished in a grand way. A person entranced by wonder is pulled out of our normal voice in the head self-absorption and finds themselves awed by something greater. There's a feeling of radical openness, curiosity, and reverence. There's an instant freshness of perception, a desire to approach and affiliate. We want to be one with it. We want to be able to capture those moments. And it's not just in Mother Nature, it's in the face of that newborn child or puppy or kitty, whatever that is, that newbornness that just allows us to remember what fresh beauty is. And it centers us in that spaciousness of love. And as I continue to be clumsy in trying to find the words that satisfy this wonder, I realize it's the sound of ah. Automatically, the sound of oh, ah. Those are the sounds that open the heart space and connect us to the beauty and the joy and the grace. Now, here's another quote from, let me see who it's from. I want to make sure I give it justice. This is, a lot of the talk is based on John O'Donoghue's work, this book about beauty, the invisible embrace. He says, when your mind becomes more acquainted with reverence, the light, grace, and elegance of beauty will find you more frequently. So think about that. When your mind gets acquainted with reverence, when we start to allow our hearts to walk with that open joy, the grace and the elegance of beauty will find us. And when that destination becomes gracious, the journey becomes an adventure of beauty. To behold beauty dignifies your life, heals you, calls you out beyond the smallness of your self-limitation to experience a new horizon. To experience beauty, you have to have your life enlarged. So it's that joyful knowing that I speak of, and that's what we resonate with. And think about the spiritual understanding that we are a part of all of this as we engage and co-create with the universe. Mirabai Starr shares a beautiful testimony, and I'm going to take you just partway into her reverie. One of my favorite books of hers is Wild Mercy. And as you can tell, it's got dog-eared and many pages are held to refer back to. But in particular, you see your opportunity to wake up to your potential, to start playing more with beauty. And as I read through some of this, I'm not going to read it all, but ask yourself, am I willing to do that? So she says, opening, when you were a child, you knew yourself to be co-creator of the universe. Think about that. Didn't we? Oh my God, we had so much fun. Every day we woke up, it was an adventure. I had a grove of orange trees, and boy, that was my community of friends. And I don't know why, they became a post office, and I used to take the bark and make letters to myself. That was crazy, but it was so much fun and tireless adventures there. But little by little, you forgot who you were. When you were a child, everything was about color. Now, think about this one. You pick black as your automatic font color. And I thought, oh my God, I do that. I'm a black font person. And when I read blue font, I know it's something important when somebody else writes in blue. So now you pick black as your automatic font color because that is the coin of the realm. When you were a child, you made up songs, but now you don't sing much anymore. You lecture or you yell or you keep a safe silence. When you were a child, you traveled from place to place by dancing. And now you cultivate stillness, which is great, but you are forgetting how to move to the music of your soul. You can hardly even hear the inner music over the clamor of all of your obligations. Reclaim your wild creativity. I know it's dangerous. When you allow yourself to become a conduit of the Shakti, of that primordial cosmic energy, she enters like light and everything is illuminated. She fits you like a second skin and you feel everything, pervasive bliss and a deep ache. She makes you hungry and fills you up and makes you drowsy and keeps you awake all night. She arouses praise and moves you to lament. She is the sacred, taking the ordinary hostage. You cannot resist her. Of course, you are afraid of what might happen if you were to lift the lid off that box. 1,000 beautiful things might come tumbling out and take over your life. You could be consumed by the urge to compose a libretto or paint a mural or lose track of your responsibilities. You're smart to be wary of opening the cage of your sleeping artistic impulse. You're likely to come roaring forth like flames and take your orderly life to the ground. Next thing you know, you'll be bursting into song at a parent-teacher meeting or doodling on your tax return. What if you were to follow that vision that fills your head and heart, begging to manifest through your hands, and you ended up neglecting your child's breakfast? It's not easy to make beauty. You don't have to dedicate your whole of your life to that impulse to create. Beauty will bloom in the right places. Just love her passion. Stirs inside of you as she writes about Shakti, that primordial energy that we know bursts through us. Sometimes I'm thinking, this year I told myself, since I was, I think, 11 or 12, every Christmas I feel like I've got to make everybody I know have something for Christmas. So I have this whole population of people that have little knickknacks from Sue for all these years, and I thought, this year I'm not going to do it. But I went to Joann's just to buy a poster board. I got lost in the reverie of this I could make, I could do this, won't take much time. So those poor yoga friends of mine are going to get another little knickknack. But it's just an opportunity to each of us to tap in and enjoy just being with beauty and art and allow ourselves to deepen that relationship. Now, there's also another idea, as I talk about John O'Donohue, taking us deeper into our relationship with beauty. And in his book, The Invisible Embrace of Beauty, we're rediscovering the true sources of compassion, serenity, and hope. He reminds us that beauty is woven into every day, and we're asked to participate with it. As beauty visits, we're left thinking and feeling and witnessing something deeper. That moment, that radiant beauty, that strange beauty even of sadness. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a beauty in sadness. Now, years ago at the Straw House Resort, we had a women's retreat there. And it was after the early morning. Sherry, you were there, I remember, and so was Ronnie, Marty. There's a lot of you that were there. Darsha Slapp was one of our members for a long time. She's passed away. Pam, you were there. I don't know. It's just, I look around and I see all of you in parts of these beauty moments. But it was after the morning spiritual practices. And the ladies, for some reason, ended up in a dog pile. Like all of a sudden they were roughnecking and they were all in the middle in this dog pile just loving on each other. It was the last day of the retreat. And there was Darsha. There was Darsha in the middle of it, sitting tall, looking out at the window. And just at that moment, the light came in, and she was in the beam of light, and she just smiled as the light was upon her, and all of these beautiful women were all surrounded and loving in this cluster of beauty. She was luminous with the divine. And I was struck with the love in that room. And then shortly after, she was diagnosed with cancer. That ultimately began that long journey of trials and setbacks. But you know what? That smile on her face that I saw that day never left her. Even towards some of the most difficult times when I would see her, she still smiled. And I'm comforted by that, knowing that in between the two worlds, that beauty, that grace reminds us of the luminous beauty that is always smiling and touching our lives. And in that moment, everything becomes luminous, not just the face we're looking upon. Now, Donahue describes these moments as gifts that surprise us. Plotinus says beauty embraces the invisible and the invisible world, and we see that. Donahue goes back to say there are corners in every heart which are utterly devoid of illusion, places we know and remember the nature of our trials, and even though the music of our heart seems to be growing faint, there is in each of us an unprotected place that beauty can always reach out and touch. It is those moments where there's something beautiful that you're carrying in your mind. And the times of challenge, we need to stay so close to nature. We need to allow our hearts to be torn and our mind that's been festering thoughts that are unskillful and causing us to be divided. We need to go into nature and feel the healing silence that can wash over us. That silence that you feel when you're in the desert. Or if you're at the ocean and you can just stare into the waves and allow the mountain views or the ocean to just carry you in the grace into that rhythm, where your heart opens, where beauty and grace touch your soul, and your smallness is open to the greater majesty. This is the reverence of beauty and awe. This is the grace. This is what we speak to. Robert Raines says, to go with the flow of your life is to live without a map. Be vulnerable to having your plans changed, your heart broken, your dreams unfulfilled. It is to trust that God is in the rapids of change as well as in the rocks of continuity. It is being able to stop digging your heels in against the tide of tomorrow. It is exercising suppleness of spirit in which you respond to the nudgings and promptings of grace moment by moment, day by day, in a kind of love making with life. I love that. I love that idea of pointing us on this journey into the idea of welcoming the beauty into our lives, to allow it to shape who we are and how we want our mind to be, this exquisiteness of beauty, allowing our next step, the tiniest choice, that we are on a path together, that we walk today in beauty and we feel that grace. So I'm going to have Judy play in the background as we go into a prayer, allowing ourselves to go to the heart, go to the place inside your heart where beauty has arrived time and again. Go to the place inside of you where it's felt, where you have found yourself longing to run back to your beloved friends and share it. It's through the heart that beauty is pervading every cell, filling us up to overflow. That thrill of beauty. Let it be that joyful noise of and we celebrate God's beauty. We celebrate through the prayer of the First Nations. From the Navajo tradition, happily I recover. Happily my interior becomes cool. Happily my eyes regain their power. Happily my head becomes cool. Happily my limbs regain their power. Happily I hear again. Happily for me the spell is taken off. Happily I walk, impervious to pain. I walk, feeling light within. I walk. This is going to be familiar to you. In beauty I walk. With beauty before me, I walk. With beauty behind me, I walk. With beauty below me, I walk. With beauty above me, I walk. With beauty all around me, I walk. It is finished in beauty. It is finished in beauty. It is finished in beauty. Words of the Navajo tradition, reminding us right here, right now, there is only that one divine grace that is forever beckoning us to wake up and open our eyes. And as we open our eyes, our hearts burst open. And tears want to weep at the beauty of this land, of the rivers, of the air, of the animals, of the people, of the faces, of our friends, of our beloved, of the stranger, as we are willing to open our eyes, open our heart, and look deeply, even into the heart of suffering. And we reach out and we see beauty and we see grace as we open and we give from that place. It is what life is calling us to do. So thank you, God, for a community of people who tirelessly work this land around us to bring that beauty forth, to continue to be inspired week after week, to show up and say, I'm a part of all of this. I am a part of all of the beauty. I am a part of all the grace. I am one with all. I give thanks and release this, knowing that we are walking in that beauty, hand in hand and heart to heart. Thank you, God. Amen. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. And 360.
This next song that we're going to do was written by my friend John Hoover, and it reminds me of being like a 5, 6, 7-year-old running around the woods with my brothers. So, here it is, Cosmic Encounters. Rain begins to pour, they touch the earth. Lips of life so sweet, they bless the dirt. Oh, I can feel my soul become real, and I sing. Beyond wall, beyond man, beyond
on my body I am free. All I see is good. All that I touch in this world, all that I taste and all that I smell, in Mother's hands I am well. Every tree and every leaf begins to sing, harmonizes with birds and falling waters meet. The symphony rises high and colors this land. Flowers dance, bees romance, life is full in Mother's hand. All I see is good. All that I touch in this world, all that I taste and all that I smell, in Mother's hands I am well. On my stomach I've come this world. Fingers and toes take roots, I take my hold. I spin through time and space on this tiny blue sphere. But safe at my mother's breast I know I will not taste fear. All I see is good. All that I touch in this world, all that I taste and all that I smell, in Mother's hands I am well. Yes, in Mother's hands I am well. Oh, in Mother's hands I am well.
That was fun. That was beautiful. Thank you. While the ushers come up, I wanted to mention one other announcement. Once again, we're going to have Blue Santa. If you remember, that's where we bring in all the teddy bears and stuffed animals. So the Reading Peace Officers Association Blue Santa program donates teddy bears and other stuffed animals. The gifts are first delivered to children in the hospital and then to those living in the poorest areas of Reading. So if you bring your gifts to the center any day between Sunday, November 28th and Sunday, December 13th, they'll be all up here on display, and it's really a very, very heartwarming experience. So please feel free to do that. So with the, I'm going to share something new with you today. Here it is. So we're going to do a new affirmation if you want to repeat after me, if you feel comfortable doing that. This day I recognize God. And only God as my substance, my supply and my support. And so it is. And so So please join with me as I remember the overflowing power of divine life energy overcomes every obstacle and pours out into the world, blessing and prospering everyone and everything through me. I radiate blessings, I radiate creativity, I radiate prosperity, I radiate loving service. Through my vision, the world is blessed. I am grateful for the abundance that this on the way, and for the abundance I currently have. I share my good with joy. And on behalf of the center, I give great thanks for all that is given to this center, for it does overflow and circulates back out into the community and through each and every one of us. And so it is. So a couple of reminder announcements. We have a beautiful lunch prepared in the social hall. We have the raffle and the gifts that can be purchased out in the foyer. We also have the pledge drive table with Carol, a board member, she's waving her hands back there. And if you are in the pledge program and you sign up for it or continue on, there is a special recognition on the last Sunday of the month at Carol's house. She has a beautiful labyrinth, and we're going to have a beautiful lunch or late afternoon snacks and lunch and walk the labyrinth, and it's going to be a fun celebration. So you can get the address from Carol when you go back there. And also, members of the committee, the search committee, have handouts for the prayer and what was read today by Steve and share in such a beautiful way. And to know, and our names are at the bottom, so if you want to reach out to any of us on updates, on how this is going. But truly, truly, we do invite you to participate and be part of this process. It's a community drawing of a new minister to this center. It's not the committee, it's the community drawing the light. And our light is shining right now. and we'll continue. So we're going to have a closing song, by the 360 Band, and thanks for being here. Beautiful music. And then soon I'll come up at the end. Thank you.
Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. We don't know what's coming, but we can help shape what's ahead. With kindness as our currency, the commonwealth is in our hands. So give a little, or give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round, there's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Look up now, people, but keep your ear to the ground. We are the river flowing, generosity abounds. So give a little, or give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round, there's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Honey bees serve sweetness only to help the world bloom. Bringing love to the flowers, from the flowers to the fruit. We can bring a thing or two. So give a little, or give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. The power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. We don't know what's coming. We can help shape what's ahead. With kindness as our currency, the commonwealth is in our hands. So give a little, or give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, heart of kindness. Ooh, heart of love. Ooh, heart of kindness. Ooh, power of love. Yeah.
That's fun. Ooh, that's to go with the ah, oh, ooh, all of our vowel sounds. So I want to remind you as well that there's several here from the endowment committee, and they are happy to answer any questions that you might have on what that even means. And it's a powerful program that I'm really proud that started many years ago and continues to carry on today, and it's the lifeblood of our center. So Roy is and Charlie are on that committee. Kurt Mitchell is. I don't know if he's here today, but is Kurt here? And Carol is here. So, and Cher. So anybody you talk to can certainly answer your questions. So with that, I would like us to end with a big ah sound. So 1, 2, 3, ah. And so it is. Is that a great way? All right, enjoy everything that you're going to do right now. Raffle tickets, baskets. There's so much for you to partake in. Thank you.